All right, welcome to the Practical AI for Business Growth, where we're going to focus on the next 5 sessions, helping you innovate, optimize, and excel within your business. This originally was a workshop where we expected about 20 people. Hence, everybody join in with their microphones and capabilities. With 100 people, maybe next time we'll have to turn it on to a webinar. But when we do breakout sessions, you'll have an opportunity to talk with each other and share some best practices. This first section is going to be on the introduction to generative AI in business. We'll be covering the next 5 sessions, boosting productivity. We'll then cover marketing, content creation, using AI in the sales process, and then optimizing operations. And in many, it's the one thing I'll say first about AI, just to set everything. The generative AI came on the scene so fast. Nobody is an expert. We are all learning together. Some are a little further along than others. And I personally believe that, the future is changing so fast that alone will fail, but together we can build the remarkable. So if you have that attitude about AI and what's going with the future, I think you're in the right place. And with that, we're going to do some introductions today. We'll have a overview of what do we mean by AI and generative AI. We'll do an example of some personal productivity, how you can use AI for your personal productivity. And then we'll introduce you to the business model canvas, which is using AI with the business model canvas. And it's a way to think about your business. We'll do a breakout session where you'll be able to discuss AI directly. And then one of the key things, though, is each group will break you into small groups, but we're going to ask you to come back, pick on a few groups to share what they learned, right? This is an opportunity to share your learnings and your what you're doing with AI, what you're thinking about. It could be a fear about AI. It doesn't matter what it is, but I like to think of us all together working to understand what the future is going to be bringing. And I'm just trying to, Isabel and I are a little bit further maybe ahead than some, behind maybe some others, but together we hope to be the stewards to help propel everybody forward. So with that, let me introduce myself, and then Isabel will introduce herself. We are both entrepreneurs in residence at the UC Riverside Small Business Development Center, also known as EPIC, SBDC. I am a futurist technologist. I've been helping early stage companies now through the SBDC for the last 4 or 5 years now. I lose track. My earliest days, I'd say I'm a failed biologist. I had a biology degree way back when, but never used it, became into computers. I've been a CIO for different companies, CTO, Chief Technology Officer for an early stage company that was doing machine learning and AI. That was almost 10 years ago, before this big, huge wave of things. And these days, I am all about what's happening to the future, where we're going, and helping early stage companies take advantage of all this change. I just want to see all this new stuff be deployed to make everybody's lives better. I think it's going to change productivity and make things do things in a different way. That's my email. You can connect with me. And then Isabel, you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you. Yeah, welcome everybody. My name is Isabel Bart. I just put my LinkedIn on the chat if any of you want to connect on LinkedIn. I guess my passion is about leveraging innovation and technology to solve for some of the bigger challenges in the world. So very aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, for example, and we have a lot of initiatives at UC Riverside related to sustainability, clean transportation and all that, which again is a little bit of my passion. I've also been involved with SBDC for close to 5 years now. Also doing some work with several incubators and sorry, with various incubators and accelerators in the area. So I have a chance to work with startup founders and small business owners in very different kind of domains. And I also am very, not always the most advanced in technology person. So I think it's great because I'm also on the journey of learning a lot of things, but I'm very curious and I love to play with technology. And that's, I think, the spirit of what we wanted to have in this workshop. Even though there are a lot of us here, but as Philippe said, we are kind of on this journey together. So we're not here to give you all the answers or tell you what's right or wrong, because this evolves every day. So it's, I think our goal is to really share some tools and ideas with you that can be practical in how you can use them for your business. So glad to join. And then we will also remind you when we send the recap later, but we have some of our colleagues on the call are part of the UCR crew, including Eileen, who I want to thank also for helping us put this together. And we have a link where you can find all the programs that are available through the Office of Technology Partnership at UC Riverside.
We're going to have some opportunities for Q&A and questions, that sort of stuff. So if you do have a question, Isabel and I together will try monitoring the chat. But if you'd use the Zoom raise your hand feature, I've got it set so that it'll chime and let me know somebody raised their hand. So I can't see all 100 people on my screen at the same time. But with that, let's first start with a little poll. And let me pull this up. And if you can, is it popping up there for everybody? Yes.
I think so. Okay.
Nice. Excellent. So 3 simple questions. What's your experience with AI? How often do you use AI and what tools do you use? If you have some other, advanced capability that you're using, go ahead and type it in the chat. Let us know if there's a tool that I didn't list or something else you're using it for. Maybe you're using it for travel planning, whatever it is, please chat it in. I'll leave it open for a little bit. It's got 31 of the people, 32. Okay, they're coming in a little bit faster and furious.
Nobody's, I think, dares to to say they are an expert, Philippe, but maybe we still have some on the call.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, give it another few more trickling in. It's kind of like popcorn. When you know popcorn is done when it stops going pop, pop, and I know the poll is done when I stop seeing the numbers go up.
About a quarter of the attendees use it every day. Which is good to know.
We'll share. We should be able to share it at the end. All right, I'm going to close the poll here. All right. Let's see. How does it share on your guys' end? I've never done it at your end. So on the what's your experience with AI? 45% of the audience, saying they're beginners. Well, you're in the right place. Intermediates, have used it for a few projects, for about 44. So we're already up to almost 100%. And there's only a couple of people that are considering themselves advanced users, and nobody owns up to being an expert. And then how often do you use AI? About a quarter of the audience is using it daily. A little over a quarter are using it weekly. maybe a little less than 20% of us are using it monthly. And then it rarely, 13%, and never 17%. What tools are people using? Chatbots. Overwhelmingly, 86% of us are using chatbots somehow for images, and about a quarter of us are using images. Text to speech, about 35%. Music, not a lot of music lovers or music users, only about 3%. Video and video generation tools, about 5%. And then other attitudes in Zoom. Let's see, what do we have in Zoom? Learning tool.
Translation, I saw that noted as well.
Okay, and bidding grantable grants. Okay, wonderful. Note taking. Biotech, AI never used. Translations, public communications platform for message authentication. Wonderful. All right. Thank you. So generative AI and intro. First off, what this workshop is not. And I thought I want to put everybody at ease. It's not going to be a history lesson on AI. We're not going to be making it a computer science course. It's not a deep dive into how it works. Go sign up for Harvard or MIT's computer science department, free open course classes if you want that. No math. It's not exclusive to large enterprises. It's great for small businesses. There's no one size fits all. And the big thing here is liberal arts majors do really well with AI. Okay, you do not need to be a programmer. You do not need to be a developer. So that's one of the big things I really want to emphasize for everybody listening. What this workshop is, it's a practical guide to using AI for small businesses. I am just going to be showing in the course of the next few weeks, I and Isabel, we're going to be showing and discussing just the very tip of the iceberg of what can be done. And I'm actually part of a developer program. Every day I go onto the Discord channel, I am blown away by somebody else has invented a new way to use the ChatGPT. All right. And if anything, that's really, it's like riding a bicycle with this stuff. You practice it, you use it, and it suddenly goes, oh, I can use it this way. That's the one thing we want to instill in everybody, that it's a tool to be used like anything. And if we use it, if we practice with it, we can learn how to use it really well. Nobody is an expert at using it. And I really want to emphasize that even if you listen to the biggest companies and you listen to the CEOs of the OpenAI or Google or Microsoft or Meta, they don't know what it's going to do. That's okay, because it's being useful in lots of different things. We're going to have some hands-on examples. We're going to be business focused here. We're not going to be talking about the entertainment industry or other things, unless your business is entertainment. We want to have questions. So again, if you use the chat below, raise your hand, we'll let you unmute and then can ask your question or such, or type it into the chat and Isabel will help monitor that. Sharing your ideas, and we want to look at innovative approaches. So let's start with something easy. When you first heard about ChatGPT or AI or such, what did you think? Type it in the chat. Love to see what everybody thought AI means to them. All right, we got, somebody said fake, robots are taking over the world, amazing, artificial, thought was a helper bot, personal assistants, maybe new coding a program, machine, Terminator. Oh, love that. Star Trek come through. I don't have to use my brain anymore. Wonderful. Another one is robots are taking over the world. Computer generated information, or at least whatever, going fast and furious now. I can't. I need an AI to read fast enough. Amazing! What a great tool. So you can just see from the way everybody's chatting. This is the truth, right? Every one of the comments in the chat is the truth of what AI is and what it means, right? Some people are excited, some people are fearful. That is perfectly okay. For each of your businesses, what I would suggest, though, is you have to think about what is your way of adopting to the future, right? You might have been very comfortable using things the way you've done it in the past, big words like big data or cloud computing or the internet or Web 3.0, these technical terms, and you go, oh, I'll just wait and see. What we kind of want to help you understand is somebody just reached over and pushed the fast button on the treadmill of change. And so you might have a personal, in your business, a personal preference of how fast you want to move. And I would suggest to you that you might want to think about what does that mean for you and your business that you're running. You might be uncomfortable at how fast things are. That's okay. But the reality is the fast button has been hit. All right. And when we're talking about AI today, you might have seen at the bottom, we're talking about generative AI. And we'll talk about what that means. We're not talking about the 1960s with the IBM computers and when they first coined the term artificial intelligence, the search for a computer that could think like a human, right? So what is this? This is the most technical we get, okay? It involves AI, various techniques to mimic human intelligence. That's it. So when you go to Amazon and it says you bought this, you might like this, we're trying to get the computer to give you something that your friend next door might say, hey, I just bought this new hair conditioner. You might want to try it. That's a recommendation. We're just trying to get the computer to do the same sorts of things that a person does. Nothing mysterious about it. What you might hear in the news is this term artificial general intelligence. This is the idea that the computers are so good, they're as good as a college graduate. They know it, they can reason, they can rationale, they can do general tasks, and they can reason as if they just came out of college or high school even. When we talk about generative AI, that's where we've used all of the large amounts of data that we humans or animals or somebody produces to train things where it's plausible, where it's reasonable. So that's the chatbots. We use all the words that we've written that are on the internet. They put them into a big database and they use them to predict what's the right words. You know, if I said I'm going to write a poem, there's certain rules to writing a poem versus if I say, hey, please chatbot, write a official grant. It's going to predict different words are going to be used. So nothing very mysterious. Don't see anything in the chat yet. The only other term that we'll throw in there is because it's used on the news all the time. And this is the large language model, or LLM. That's the only other technical term. And it's when it refers to specifically when it's been trained on language. And that could be an English language, Spanish, French, Indonesian, Polynesian. In fact, some of the models are trying to figure out how to speak dolphin, right? And so they're just collecting lots of data to let the computer understand what do these words mean. All right. I should have asked it before I says nice. We'll go through some. What is there any other tools that people are using out there? Go ahead and type it in the chat. If you don't see something you're using up on the screen, type it in the chat. Let me know, what are you using? Gemini, Opus, Kieran says Gemini, Promo AI, Manal, Otter. Yeah, Otter from Christy says Gemini, Google Gemini, OpenAI. Okay.
Yes, so Rhoda has an interesting question about, is the word overused? And Philippe, I'd love to have your opinion. But one thing that we're seeing sometimes with startups is, I think when they mention that they have AI functionality or they're using AI, I think it's very different today than it was maybe a few years ago in terms of, I think what you just explained, Philippe, right? Like we're kind of at the next level of AI and the capabilities of AI today. So if you're saying, oh, we are doing AI because, our solution browse through that database super fast. I think we're kind of like past that. And I think there is a lot of confusion for folks out there right now of one maybe AI and not. So I think I'm glad that we provided some definitions here, but what do you think in terms of the overuse of the word today?
Yeah, certainly I think it's overused, and we'll have to find new language. We always do. Every technology that's come out, we found new languages. And as you said, Isabel, you and I look at a lot of the early tech companies and they say, oh, I need to sell to investors. And they suddenly go, well, can I call it AI? Because I think the investors will want me to say AI. Or I have a business already. I'm a marketing company and my competition's using the word AI. How do I add AI to my branding so that I can feel relevant? And the question is it the technology that's relevant or what you deliver, right? And so we'll have, that'll be a great conversation in the breakout rooms. Somebody said Canva, Peach, haven't heard that one, Runway, Hagen, 11 Labs, Poe, Adobe, Diffusion. So you can see there's lots of tools out there. Through the course of this, we'll cover some of these tools and maybe a few more. We'll certainly cover the tools from all the chat tools from the company OpenAI and the image generation. We'll use that for marketing. Microsoft has announced they're using it in everything. When you use their Bing search, you're using their AI system likely. Meta has a tool out there that's Facebook. They have models, but they're not easily accessible. They're more accessible to programmers. There's a tool out there we might explore, Anthropic, which is a competitor to OpenAI. Midjourney is a product for tools and images that's very common, and these are not the entirety of the list. There's a website of AI companies and AI tools. I believe the directory, last I looked, was more than 2,000 companies have either these kinds of capabilities where they're the early stage where you can use everything, or they've been built into custom workflows where people are building them for avatars for selling on a website, building out videos, making music, reviewing court cases and summarizing the court proceedings. Not necessarily writing court proceedings, but summarizing them. So you can also type in the chat along as I kind of read out this list of what are some of the things that are as commonly being used for generative AI, for this new technology. It's been a lot of people are writing articles and stories. I personally decided to get involved with it, and I committed myself to writing 100 articles in 50 weeks. That's two a week. And I leverage AI, the chat, to do that. I'm still the story writer, but I use it for the editing and taking my stream of consciousness together. We'll talk about images and videos and audio. Tremendous activity going around there. You may have seen in the news where the various movie theaters, the movie studios, Netflix, are all, the Screen Actors Guild have had strikes over, can you use a image of me, or is it me personally as an actor? So they're using it for that. Lots of people creating videos. Personalization. This is where the AI is wonderful. If you're a small business, so you have a bunch of different customers, you already know what your products are, but you have to generate personalized emails, personalized letters, personalized stuff. It's fantastic for doing that. It's very good at recommendations. It's the one thing about computers is repetitive tasks. Man, there's a lot of things I don't like doing, but once you figure out, hey, here's a list of 100 people, summarize them for me. The AI has no problem. It just chunks away and does it for you. And then, of course, lots of people are using it for programming and that sort of stuff. We have some other people saying they're using it for research, drafting marketing, sales history, price analysis. And somebody's asking, yes, we'll get a copy of the presentation today. Nope. All right. Some other use cases that are out there, chatbots, virtual assistants. How many have gone onto a new website and the chat bot for the website pops up? Is it a human, or is it a chat, or is it really a robot? And is it an old school programmed robot, or is it the new school where you're literally chatting with it? And what I mean, for those that might follow, the old way of doing a chatbot would say, if somebody types something for, how do I get a refund? It responds with a canned answer. The new way is you type anything and it responds by understanding what you've written and answering the question. A lot of what Isabel and I did for putting together this course was we had our basic ideas of what we wanted to cover. And then we used the Chat GPT to help come up with, how do we break it into sections? Here's what we want to do. How would we organize it into 5 sections? And today we'll talk about how we can use it for analyzing documents, pros and cons, and do a little bit of show and tell there.
And a lot of these topics that were just mentioned in terms of marketing, content, and productivity, the subsequent sessions will be more detailed around some of these key topics. So again, today we're kind of doing also a preview of some of the future sessions where we will go a little deeper into some of these examples and concepts.
Do you need a degree to use and understand Oh, no, if you're liberal, if you're 14 years old, you're perfect. No, you do not. Great question. No, you do not need a computer degree. You don't even need a college degree. You just need to be able to chat. A lot of the products out there, and we'll show that today. So it's you can get as advanced as you want, but all the tools that are generally available are pretty simple. Probably from the agenda, you already saw that some of the common things that as small businesses we use it for is your marketing, researching competitors, figuring out pricing strategies, analyzing competitor websites. For marketing, understanding who you're selling to, finding new market segments. We'll talk about, we'll do a little bit of that in this course. Promotional materials, sales, wonderful for crafting sales letters, finding new prospects, new segments. Customer service, you got to talk about chat bots. HR is going crazy with AI right now. both the people writing their resumes using chatbots, how to write a perfect resume in response to a job posting. And then companies are writing it to use to write job descriptions. Isabel and I have both used it with some of our clients that were needing to hire a fractional chief financial officer and an accounting company, and helping them understand the difference between a financial person and an accountant. ChatGPT is really good for that.
Yeah, there are some other questions, and I wanted to make another point as well. You know, I think my personal perspective on technology, right, is and that's what we're going to discuss in this workshop, is how to leverage the benefits of this technology. However, it doesn't always replace some of the fundamental understanding, for example, around business, which is a lot of what our team does for startups, for small businesses. So we're going to really use some basic, I would say, tools like the business model canvas, which we're going to talk about. And if you have any specific questions, or you're feeling confused because you have maybe more business related questions, I think we'll try to also bridge that gap and help you, because obviously AI may not solve all the problems if there is something that's more challenging in the fundamental of your business. So rest assured that we will also be here if you feel stuck, or you have, or you're still struggling with the application of AI to the business challenge you may be going through. And we're going to be very practical going forward also in the way we're using the AI learning through this.
All right. So let's, we'll look at a very simple use case that is a lot of people struggle with personal productivity. They have they come to work, and they have a task list that's a mile long, never gets done. And so you could even use that to help you try to look at two things. We're going to look at two tools, and we'll do a demo of two completely different tools. And we'll do them side by side so you can understand, sort of visually see the difference. Both of these tools are free. So that's a good number. Perplexity AI, it came on the scene, and it's a wonderful tool that you type in just like a Google search, and it answers your question. And what's remarkable about it is it shares you where it found the information from. And we'll give you an exact example of that. That's the really big thing. If you want to, the main difference, the main thing of this is it shows you where it got its answers from. The other tool that we'll talk about and we'll demo is the ChatGPT. And that's the one that started this whole place. And one of the biggest, this was, I wrote this, we put this together, what, a month ago, up to date, not up to date, good for facts through December 2023, depending upon which particular chat, and we'll talk about that in a second when I demo it. It's really good for broad-based questions. It understands chat, just like a human could chat with the neighbor and say, hey, what do you think about this? How should I build my business? Who should I sell to? What do you know about genetic engineering? It'll answer, right? It'll answer those questions, and it'll answer it with pretty good fidelity. And it's good for logic errors. But the big thing is all of these chatbots, because Perplexity gives you the source code, the source, like which website it got the answer, it's easier to validate that what it's saying is correct and accurate. With ChatGPT, it can still make mistakes on the facts, the detailed facts, and where it makes the biggest issues on exact numbers and exact percentages. The logic will be correct. New home buyers are more likely to do this, but if there's a specific number, it'll probably get the number wrong. So let's
Philip, just a quick question that I saw, I wanted to
Yeah.
clarify. So privacy, security, I think it's a lot of on a lot of people's mind. So for example, some universities are creating their own version of AI because if you're doing research that could be very proprietary, there's some risk in putting some of this confidential information in something like ChatGPT. So I don't know if there's any specific questions from anyone here on privacy or security, or Philip, anything you want to add in terms of what are some of the common, things to know maybe around privacy or security with AI? Or actually, Simal, I think you raised your hand. Do you want to ask a question?
Yes, related to this. So I assume that especially with free models, the particular prompts and inquiries we put in is probably used for the learning of the model, so they might show up for other people's inquiries or searches, right? So is it also the case for the premium models where we pay for? Because sometimes, we have a certain angle that we pitch, especially if you're a startup, certain things. So is it something that we should be very mindful about?
So I'll share, the models are using, when you click on the button and say, it does say what you type can be used to improve the training and understanding of the chat model, right? I'm actually working with some pharmaceutical companies, and they are incredibly worried about that privacy level. And so they are, instead of using these tools, are building their own, right? And they're building them, hundreds of millions of dollars to build their own with their own information that stays inside. It's probably a conversation between you and yourself and your own privacy security tolerance, right? We all have cell phones. I guarantee somebody probably is monitoring where I am, what I click on, what I do. So you have to have your own conversation with what litmus test is. It's my personal opinion that, and this is not the SBDC opinion, that for many companies that we see, they often think they have a very unique and a unique idea. Well, Isabel and I see new companies all the time, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen the same idea. So the ideas are not so unique. It's usually the relationships you have with the people, the customers, and how you treat them and all the other things that's very unique. So, but if you have a secret formula, I probably wouldn't type I wouldn't type your Coca-Cola formula into the chat bot, right? If you've got a secret formula, I wouldn't do that. Does that answer your question? Give you one person's opinion, and I would suggest you in the breakout session, ask the others as well what their sense of privacy is, because everybody's it's everything from I'm totally paranoid to I'm share with anything.
There was a question, I wanted Philip to get your answer as well. I heard that question actually very recently asked at a workshop also, around if there is a way to see. So Andrea asked, right, is there a website or a tool that can be used to detect if the content you're looking at was created by AI? The answer I heard was not at the moment, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Philip, what is that? Do you confirm that, or?
Yeah, I was sorry. I was actually reading what Manal had said about making everybody aware of Microsoft's Teamspace. And Microsoft's Teamspace, if you have the paid for version, they are offering the private. And I would say, yeah, there's people trying to solve that problem that you're talking about. All right, so let me share on the right screen. Okay.
And there's a question that I think we're not going to answer right now, but it's about how AI affects critical thinking, which can be a philosophical debate, right? So this is kind of what I said earlier, is we're going to talk about some business fundamentals during this workshop, which again, unfortunately, AI is not going to build your business for you, you know, A to Z, right? So no matter what, there are still some basic business principles that that we need to cover. And again, if there's some things you need on in terms of help on the business side of things, SBDC has a lot of resources that are available to you. But I think, right, exactly. I mean, there's still a lot of critical thinking and things that you know, you're going to be using as you're leading your business, your startups. That AI is a tool, but it's probably not going to answer all the questions you have going forward.
Okay. So what we're seeing here is this is the ChatGPT, OpenAI's GPT. It is now a free product and they've made it so that there used to be a premium version where you had access to the better models. They have made access even to the better models free, but at a reduced speed. So you're limited to how much you can use. And when you first come in here, you can create chats, and there's this drop-down menu that chooses the models. The Chat GPT that you might have heard 3 was the shot that heard around the world that changed everything and everybody started paying attention. These models are advancing daily. You don't need to know too much about the models at this point. I just encourage people to get involved with something, whether that's ChatGPT, the Bing or something, and treat it like a chat at the beginning. You're not going to get the answers that you know, the results, the perfect results that you know, if you're paying your accountant to do all your finances, continue to pay your accountant. The ChatGPT is not going to answer your accounting questions, but it can help you understand accounting. So I'm going to show you, how can you help me with my personal productivity? Simple question, right? Any of us might ask that question, and the system will very quickly give you a ton of ways that you could do this. We won't go through all of these, but I want you to understand that what if I did this in the Google chat, in a search engine, right? I would get a bunch of ads in there. So if I go to my Google search and how can you help me with productivity, I'm going to, you know, they now have Google has some now AI at the top, but you're going to get websites, 6 tips to improve your personal productivity, right? So that the question you type in, you get a more cogent answer with ChatGPT, but you'll notice you don't have any idea where this information came from. The information is, think of it this way, it's the general knowledge of humans, the general knowledge. And it's the general knowledge of humans is usually right. The wisdom of the crowds is usually right, but we're really bad at the details. So if that's the way I like to think about it, and that will help structure it for you. We talked about this other tool, and I'm going to type the exact same thing into the Perplexity, and you'll see how that responds. This is also free, perplexity.ai. They have the new thread when it comes in, you know, ask anything. You know, how can you help me with personal productivity? And it immediately provides you with the sources. These are specific websites. And you can see the answers are similar, right? But a much shorter answer because it's picking pieces of these 4 or 5 articles to give you a general idea. And again, let's look back at the ChatGPT. It gave you, you know, similar decision making, not much detail here. So you basically just need to ask, chat with things. So a follow-up prompt might be, how can you help me with to-do lists, right? There's no science here. There's no mathematics here. It's just, if you're could talk, it'll give you some good ideas, right? This is interesting. I did this yesterday and it answered completely different. It says, how can you help me to do this? Create an organizing to-do list, priority lists, check recommending. If I ask a follow-up question of perplexity, it answers a little bit differently. It's answering, break down the task, prioritize, set goals, use categories, be specific. So a little bit more detailed in the answer. And again, I'm going to encourage you to come up with whatever in sort of your homework is going to be coming into here. Each of those tools, come up with a set of questions that you think you would like to ask and type them into both tools and see what answers you get back. By experiencing it, you can understand for yourself how useful those sorts of things are for you. Right? And here's my final prompt that I'm going to use. My task list just grows and I never get anything done. So let's see how the different chat responds. Both of these systems are remembering the conversation. So everything that's typed in so far knows that I've asked these 3 questions, right? And we're now starting, just like as you talk to a human, you might say, oh, I don't understand that. It wasn't very meaningful to me. How do you ask a clarifying question? You can continue to ask clarifying questions of the chat bots and get more and more clear answers for it. So here's my, where did I put it in? Here's a start. My list keeps growing. Strategies for managing your list. Prioritize using an Eisenhower matrix. I'm not sure what an Eisenhower matrix is. If you're not sure.
Yes, it is a matrix.
Yeah, but
you're going to ask.
I'm just going to go,
Sure.
What is an Eisenhower matrix, right?
Yeah. So you don't need me anymore to present you.
Right. So it'll answer those questions. And it even gives you an example of how somebody could fill in a matrix of their to-dos, right? Nope. We're going to do the same thing back at Perplexity. Again, to give you that side by side. And it came up with some different answers, right? Came up with use the 1-3-5 rule. Big tasks, medium tasks, small tasks. Prevents you from overloading. Good strategy. Right. And I'll ask the same question. What is an Eisenhower matrix? Their Perplexity answer was, the same basic text, but it included some pictures of what these look like. And you can click on them and okay.
Yeah, I think what it shows too, back to the question about critical thinking, is this just saved you a lot of time to understand, for example, there's an Eisenhower matrix. However, you're now, you're the one who may have to think about how you want to populate your matrix, right, for your own need. So it doesn't, again, do necessarily everything for you, but it just saved you a bunch of time doing research, potentially browsing websites. Just like, if I recently used it to plan a trip, and in the past, I may have gone through a lot of type of Google searches to do my itinerary or whatever, but the AI suggested some things already done for me, so it saved me a lot of time. For tasks that may not have stimulated my critical thinking so much anyway. So again, I think, in terms of productivity, you can see the difference for a lot of things where it can save you a lot of time. There was a question, Philip, around if you log out from the session and you come back to it on ChatGPT or Perplexity, you will remember the prior session. I believe so.
Yes, they do. If you log in, it will remember your username and your conversations that you had. ChatGPT recently allows you to ask a question and not log in, and it will not remember the thread. Obvious, because it does, because you didn't log in, it doesn't know who you are. All right, so let's just see my pace is we got a little, we probably. So we're just going to start and introduce you to the business model canvas. This is a way that we often use in the SBDC to help businesses think about their business. Instead of writing a huge business plan, you can kind of throw it onto a one-pager. What's your value? Who's your customers? Who do you talk to? Your basic revenue stream. And we're just going to show you a little bit of how you might be able to use that to think about your own business. And this is going to be a demo where this company has created a robo-pet. And we're going to put this in and see what the system does. How would it help me with my business? And this could be what you think your business is. This is just an example. So part of your homework is going to be think about your own business. What do you do? And then ask ChatGPT, use the prompts I'm going to use to see how does ChatGPT think about the way you describe your business. So. Yep. Where did I go? I lost my screen. Stop share. Share. Yep, here we go. No, wrong screen. No. All right. So I'm going to go over here and click on this little notepad on the ChatGPT, which allows me to create a new thread. So it's a new conversation. And what this says, RoboPet's an innovative thing. They have a thing, let's see. Let's say create a business. Should have done all of this. Create a business model canvas. I'm glad I cut, copy, and pasted so you don't have to watch me type. So it can respond what it thinks your business does, who it thinks you're talking to. This may or may not be right, but what it's going to do for your particular business is cause you to think about your business in the way that maybe a banker thinks about it, an investor thinks about it, somebody else thinks about your business. Think about it as this is the general thoughts when the words you use to describe your business, this is how people might think about your business. And I'm not going to go through all of this, right? But it generates a tremendous amount of information about your business. And in the homework, we have this other way. That's the generic, like just fill in the model canvas. And I'll make this bigger. But you can oftentimes ask these chats to do, it's a computer. So I'm asking it to answer one question, but I can often ask it, hey, give me two ideas. And this is exactly what I'm doing here. I'm literally saying the assistant, the chat, is an expert. And you, the human, are going to give them your business idea. But the assistant's going to generate two different value propositions. And you've described what you want back. I want a complete sentence. I want a specific things. And so let's just see how this comes in. The answer you get back is a little bit more detailed. And so same words, but I asked the chat to give me two different ideas about my business. All right. And I'm sure I've created lots of questions in people's minds, which then sort of segues perfectly to the breakout sessions. We're gonna are there any immediate questions before we go into breakout sessions?
No, I don't see anything in the
Okay,
chat
great.
either. So we'll do the breakout for 15 minutes, and then we'll spend the last 15 minutes of today's call to hear back about your breakout, and then go over some of the things you can practice for next week, and some resources as well.
Probably there's 65 of us, 63, create 10, 6 apiece. Sound good? All right.
Yeah, so I will
go for it. What?
Okay, all right. So yes, again, as Philippe said earlier on the call, we have a few more people than we expected, but hopefully these breakout rooms will be small enough that you can all take a turn. So be mindful, maybe a couple minutes per person, and think about the following questions. What does AI mean for you, your business? How do you feel about it? Feel free to be open and candid if you can. What strategies have you used? And it's okay also if you're saying, I'm brand new to this. Are you creating any content with AI? Are you using it for customer service or anything like that? And also, do you have a business strategy already in place, or are you just starting a business, or just considering considering starting a business? And we would like, if possible, some of you to volunteer, right, when we get back in the big room, to maybe share some of the things you heard in the breakout.
All right, I'm trying to find my chat window disappeared. I was going to post in these questions.
Yes. And I think the challenge is, once we break out, I don't know that the chat stays general. So yes.
Yeah.
So you will see a prompt. Philippe is going to create the breakout rooms. And also, if some of our colleagues end up in the breakouts, I would love to hire your help to facilitate the conversation a little bit as well, since we have some of our colleagues on the call today.
All right.
So you can now join a room, and we'll see you back in 15 minutes.
Alexa, set timer 15 minutes.
15 minutes, starting now. Well, all right. Would you like to play a round of quiz of the day?
All right. So,
I'm looking at, I may go into 10, Philippe. I'm looking at where there is no, I know when there's nobody from our team.
yeah, I think I'm gonna. I think I'm just gonna stay here.
Yeah, in case people get bounced back, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking to see which one. Maybe in 6, there are only a few. I may bounce into a few, so I'll see you back
Okay.
when it's time. Okay, I'm gonna go into like a couple of rooms or something just to make sure
All right.
everything is going smooth.
Sorry, I had to jump off for a bit. Are we going through a breakout session?
Yes, we are. It should be popped up on your screen to join a breakout session. Yeah.
Oh, please wait to be assigned.
Okay, you must have joined. Where are you? Unassigned. Oh, that's because you probably went away and came back on. So
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got a call, so I was out for about 10-15 minutes.
okay.
Okay, what are we doing in the breakout?
It was things we're discussing. We're discussing our own personal relationship with the AIs. And so,
Okay.
what we're doing, what we're not doing, and learning from your peers.
Awesome. Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Alexa, how many minutes left?
You have 4 minutes and 30 seconds left on your 15-minute timer.
Everyone seems very engaged in their conversation, so it's good.
Good. Linda, you didn't want to go to the breakout session? You're talked out. Ugh. Alexa, how much time left?
You have 3 minutes and 30 seconds left on your 15-minute timer.
Hey, Danielle and Desiree, I see you joined late and you did get assigned to a room. They're about couple of minutes before people are going to come back from their breakout sessions.
Okay, no problem. Thanks.
Maybe Philip will just ask for, probably not, we probably won't have time for a lot of feedback from the breakouts, but maybe
Yeah.
a couple of people or something.
All right, that'll hit the close button here.
Yeah, so they have 60
Alexa,
seconds.
yeah.
Great.
All right.
So far.
I think we got we got pretty much everybody back. Wonderful. So did
Everybody's-
anybody have the same exact opinion as somebody else? Right. I heard, Beverly's like that laughing there. And that's the point that I want to really drive home, right? Nobody really knows what's going to happen. I'm going to say my message again. The future is changing so fast that alone will fail. And so I'm glad each of you got to meet somebody else in your community and have a conversation to start figuring. Alexa, be quiet. That's my alarm going off for the thing. So that's AI for you, right? She can hear my voice. So wonderful. Beverly, you had a question, you got your hands raised. You can unmute and just ask it.
It's not a question per se, but I sort of wanted to precede the open part to really talk about our group. We gave ourselves about a 3-minute time limit, which worked pretty well. And I think, like most people, we've got a level, varying levels of expertise in this field or area of interest. And There's just so much growth here, and I was ecstatic when you said this is a great major for liberal arts, because it is. It's where, where we're really taking language and analysis, which are my personal strong points, and then where are we going to implement this? And I think that, like I said, the whole range of experiences is from advanced to at the very beginning. And I feel very lucky that we were in that group. And the last thing that I'll say is that really the way, in my opinion, to look at AI is there's Beverly and Uber Beverly, meaning that like man and Superman. There's going to be a whole side of myself where I don't have time or capacity for all of this knowledge, but I have a place to store it that's tailored specifically to my needs. And that, yes, there's going to have to be guardrails, but we don't quite know where that's going to be yet. This is all developing so quickly. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for that, Beverly.
For sharing.
Thank you. I think
We have another question, I believe.
Flora, your group wants to share, or?
Yes, this is Irma Flores. Yeah, our group is really good. I really appreciated our group. The thing that just kind of stood out for me was that it was stated that do not put proprietary information in free GPT or Perplexity. So that was just a little alarming for me. So where do you is there chats or AIs that you have to pay in order to get a little more put more of your company information, or?
Yeah, Manal had shared in the chat that the Microsoft team does, for the paid version of Microsoft Teams, they have their version of Microsoft's Copilot, and that's
Oh, okay.
reported to be private.
Okay.
I have not used that product, so I can't tell you what their privacy policy is specifically, but that's what one of our community members said.
Okay.
Is there another team that'd like to share what your learnings were? I didn't not pick on names. We could have picked on people.
I was in the group with Floor. Sorry, Nicole, I jumped in.
Hi, Nicole.
It's Irma Flores.
With Irma and 5 other entrepreneurs, and I think what stood out was again, all ranges of expertise on using AI, from trying to understand how to do a marketing plan for an upcoming launch, developing their business plan or their thought structure on how to approach their business. I thought that was interesting. And then Musa had an interesting take on understanding customer psychology profiles
Yeah, that
to
was
help
interesting.
with customer discovery. So I found that very intriguing. Eric also shared that as we were chatting, he posed a research question to ChatGPT, got a list of responses that he feels would have saved him about 3 hours of work.
Thank you, Maricela. Nicole, you wanted to add a comment as well?
Sure. Yeah. On behalf of Group 6, we had a lively group and quite different backgrounds in terms of the companies that they represented. And everyone's, I think, used AI somewhat. And I think the general sentiment was that it's a very necessary thing. Like, we need to get on the bandwagon and use this, or else we'll be antiquated. And so I think everyone would like to learn more. But what people are using it for right now is generating, grant proposals, refining ideas, or refining towards different audiences. That's was popular, brainstorming ideas. And then the final thing that we kind of talked about is it plagiarism to use ChatGPT? And so there was some discussions. Is it moral to use this? Am I cheating? And we had a student in there that has her professor say, no, you cannot use the AI to generate reports, but you can use it to refine your reports. So that was an interesting tidbit. And they said that they can tell if you used AI to generate the report. So that was kind of our group summary.
Thank you, Nicole.
Excellent.
Right. So to conclude, I think we're going to go over some of the assignment for next week and the resources that we can share before we wrap up. And if you have any outstanding questions, feel free to write them in the chat or raise your hand.
The digital divide.
All right. So we'll work with UCI to email them out. There was the slides, there was the link to the demo prompts that I used, and in that there's also the assignment that's in that document. Basically, we're going to be asking you to do the same thing that I just did, right? Come up with a question, whether it's on personal productivity, and use both the ChatGPT tools and the Perplexity tools. Do them side by side so you can see the two tools and the differences that they have. It's really fundamental, because think of this as right now, these tools are being invented real fast. One's a great screwdriver, one's a good hammer, one's a good saw, and these tools are wonderful, but you have to figure out which one you want to use. And the only way you can do that is if you've never seen a screwdriver, you wouldn't know what it does. So all we're trying to ask you to do is to, experiment on this huge wave. It's changing so fast, you've got to start doing that. And that's the one message that I think is really what I feel passionate about. I think the biggest companies are spending on AI at a tremendous pace, but the small and mid-sized companies are not yet. But yet you have the greatest potential to adopt, because the big companies have all these concerns and it's hard to train and you're nimble. So it's really great that you can start doing that. And then the second part of the assignment is going to be using it to help you with your business. You saw me type in the RoboPet case where I said, hey, what would you think my business is? Well, you can use either your own business, or if you want to just make up a fictitious business, or even use my RoboPet business, you're free to do so. We've got these resources. There are some basic ones, and we'll work on if there's any others that we'll send out. And the next, thank you. Next week we'll be focusing on boosting productivity with generative AI, focusing on the communications, research and development, and problem solving. And with that,
And as a reminder, because we got this question a lot, you will receive an email recap with the link to the recording, a copy of the slides that we went through, so you can go back, click on any of the links that we had in our presentation. And again, we recommend that you practice a little bit so you have questions or more to share next week. And we are also available should you have any questions between now and next Wednesday. Our information is on the presentation as well.
Can you put back 2 slides with the list of the different AI?
Yeah, you'll get emailed them, but we can put it back up there. There's my share.
Excuse me, please. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Are you gonna email it and send a replay of this video today?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm a kinesthetic person. I see by doing and learning by doing, examples.
Absolutely.
And these links will be available in the presentation that you receive via email, so you can click on them at any time in the future as well.
Thank you very much for the privilege and honor to help you get into learning AI.
Thank you.
Thank you, Philip and
Thank you
Isabel.
for volunteering your time.
Excellent.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week. And in the meantime, reach out if you have any questions.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.